I'm so sorry. You can't. My boss said, or whatever. And I always wonder for those people, like, is their boss just a coward?
Hey guys, this is Colin from Blackjack Apprenticeship, and I'm here again with Dusty Pink Chip and David Loud and Often. And I wanted to talk about some of the downsides to card counting. So people know the positives, right? It really does work. It's based on math. You can make money at it. We've all made money at it. You get to travel. You get to have incredible stories. But, you know, the reality is it's not all rosy. So why don't you guys share what comes to mind when I say downside to card counting?
I think about the fact that when the only time you lose big is when you had the advantage.
Yeah.
It just boggles the mind that the only time you're going to get crushed is when you had your big money out there, which means you had the advantage over the casino. And sometimes you have to remind yourself, okay, out of the next 100 big hands that I'm going to play, I'm going to lose 49 of them. And there's no guarantee when those will be.
Yeah, so let me break that down for people. I get emails all the time that say, hey, I seem to lose big when the count is high. Yes, that's true because you're betting big when the count is high. You also are going to win big when the count is high. And what some people misunderstand is they think, hey, I've got a true 5, so I'm going to win. Well, true 5, you've got about a 2% advantage. 2%. So that means you're going to win about 52% of the time, lose 48% of the time. And that works out over the long haul. Over hundreds of hours, like we're all proof of it. Every legitimate card counter is proof of it that it works out. But when the count's high, you're going to win big and lose big. And it is so frustrating to know I've got the edge and I just keep losing. Any card counter watching this knows that pain. That's, the swings, kind of bigger picture, the swings are really tough. Well, no, the negative swings are tough. Mm-hmm. The positive swings
They're easier.
are a bit easier. I've never heard a card counter complaining about winning, but, the other side of the shoe the other shoe is going to drop. You're going to have some losses. What are you thinking about, Pink Chip?
I'm thinking about how there are absolutely no downsides to card counting. Just not a one.
Really?
That's my game face.
Okay.
Obviously, though, you're talking about how we have to put in the hours to get to the long run, and those are long hours, and they're sometimes kind of lonely.
Yeah.
Like, you can act like the life of the party at the table, but you got to be focused and in your own head, and sometimes on a long trip and driving a lot of miles, and that takes its toll for sure.
Yeah.
But game face, get backed off of every casino in the country, and by the time you're done, management will have changed. At the first ones you got backed off of, keep playing.
Yeah.
So balancing those two emotions is...
It's crazy that you are, as a card counter, you're playing to serve EV, and no hand you ever play gives you EV. Mm-hmm. It either gives you a loss or it gives you a win. You have big losses, big wins, but rarely are you exactly on EV in the moment.
Yeah.
It's this long haul game.
So I'll break that down for people. Let's say you're betting $500 at this true 5, 2% advantage. That means every hand you play is worth $10. But you're not going to win or lose $10. You're going to win 500 or lose 500, double down, win 1,000, lose 1,000. But the EV, the expected value of that hand, is $10. And so you could have a session that's worth $200 of EV, and you just won or lost 5 or 10 grand. I would say what you were saying about the loneliness. I would say there's kind of a life cycle of a card counter that I've found after 15 years of this. There's the initial, this sounds amazing. And then there's the, oh, this is going to be really hard. Because it's not like easy. Like, nope. I think more people can do it than think they can if they put in the time. But then you okay, you get to that point where you can play perfectly and it's like, this is incredible. I get to beat casinos for money. And then at some point, maybe it's 100 hours in or 1,000 hours in, at some point it's like, oh man, this is lonely, and it starts to feel like a grind. And I don't think that there's a job out there that at some point in some way doesn't feel like a grind. This is no different. And then it's at that point that I think someone does one of two things. They say, oh, this is a grind, and they move on, and that's great. Lots of people move on, more power to you. Other people, they find a way to kind of recalibrate what it is. Oh, it is a job, or, like it's not all just amazing feelings all the time. And then you say, okay, well, but it's still a great investment, or it still beats the alternative, or I put it in a different place where it's not what I do all the time. I do it on the side.
And there's no on-the-clock support system. So in the moment, the casinos don't necessarily trust you.
Yeah.
You're not giving them information. You can't share. You can't ask them to, give you a positive word or whatever about what you're doing, what you're really doing. People at the table don't necessarily like the way you're playing.
Yeah.
And if you really want support or encouragement or to remind yourself that this is okay, you got to go do that off the clock. You got to call a friend or whatever. But while you're playing, while you're working, you are absolutely alone in the endeavor.
Yeah, I had a session not that long ago, and I was losing. It felt like hour after hour, I'm losing. I would have dealer after dealer come in. I'm just picturing them thinking like, oh, this is really sad. This guy just keeps buying in 1,000 after 1,000, and they're thinking like, oh, that's so much money. Why doesn't he just go home? Which is what I'm thinking about everyone else at the table. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, don't buy in another 100. Just go home. But I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking like I have the edge. Just got to put in the hours, But my point is this. Everyone else in the casino, like you don't get any accolades or support, If you're winning, they're just like, oh, this schmuck, If you're losing, they're thinking, oh, this degenerate, You don't get a like, wow, your skills are amazing. If you do get that, if someone's saying your skills are amazing, it's because they're saying time to move on, to leave our casino, or at least no more blackjack. Yeah. That part's tough.
It is a form of praise, though, which is kind of ironic. It's like, oh, you know what? You're too good for us. They came up with that phrase on purpose, I think, because it is a subtle form of flattery.
Yeah.
Let me praise you right on out the door.
Yeah. You're so awesome, bye.
Well, there's also the you're done here.
Right.
Which is...
There's, some people are less courteous.
All right, so you're kind of saying, well, you can get accolades for your skills, but it's generally when you're getting backed off, which is probably the other big downside to card counting, the back-offs. Like, I think if anything rattles someone or keeps them from having success as a card counter, it's the back-offs, which in some ways to me, it's like really a bummer because it's kind of in your head. I mean, no one likes rejection, but it's not really something, I don't know. It's if you can get over it, if you can say, oh, whatever, I don't care about this casino anyway, and move on, but at the same time, it can start to just build over time, rejection after rejection. You guys, I'm sure, have had some rejection over the years.
Yeah, I think of it less as rejection and more as like disapproval. But every once in a while, somebody who's just never done it before will apologize to you for it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so sorry. You can't. My boss said, or whatever. And I always wonder for those people, like, is their boss just a coward? Like, hanging out in the back room? Like, no, you do it. I'm scared. Or is their boss on vacation, like, on the phone, like, no, you got to make that guy stop doing this.
I've had this isn't my decision, I'm sorry, it came from upstairs. I've had I know there's clearly a mistake here, let me get it sorted out, which never gets sorted out because, it's that pit boss or that person didn't think I was clearly a card counter. And then I've had let me sit down and talk with you. I'm so impressed with your skills. Tell me about your life, like trying to be my friend as they back me off. And, I always treat a back off with respect and, I don't escalate or whatever, but it's kind of like, we don't have to be friends here. I know we're done, and
Yeah.
thank you, sorry, whatever, I'll move on.
There's a little bit of a mystery when you go into a casino about the back off because you don't know if it will come.
Yes.
You don't know when it will come.
It's the anticipation that's the worst
And you
part.
don't know what manner it will come because there are back offs that are really apologetic. There are back offs where they're really kind to you or like, can we get you a dinner, for your trouble? And then there are back offs that are a little bit mean or where you feel a little bit threatened by it. And sometimes it's the surprise element that gets me more than the way they back me off. Sometimes I forget I could get backed off at any moment. Yeah. And then I'm taken aback because I wasn't present in my mind knowing, oh yeah, that's going to happen at any moment. You kind of have to be ready for the unexpected, be ready for whatever the whole breadth of possibilities and the way they can back you off.
As soon as you know that you're doing something to beat the game, you put yourself in a place where you can be in a constant state of ambient anxiety.
Yeah.
Because you're
It's
like,
true.
when are they going to figure it out? What I know? But they might not. A lot of casinos are really, really dumb and they've never heard of card counting, or they think it's impossible with a 6-deck shoe because they watched Rain Man on TBS like last week, and it's like, duh, you have to be like special to be able to do that. Or sometimes it feels very final. The back off feels like, oh, this is the end, but it's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you can go play at a place where you've been backed off before anyways.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes they're not really sure they want to back you off.
Yeah.
There was a time at that same casino where I got the Ellensburg Blue where I got, I didn't get exactly backed off. I got flat bet. So they wouldn't let me change my bet. So now I can't effectively gain an advantage over the casino. So I left. And I got a call as I was driving to my comped hotel. The host was like, where are you? And I was like, I left. They flat bet me. And he was like, oh, I wish you would have told me you were doing that because I could have used it to my advantage, but you should come back. And I'm like, I'll come back if they let me play my game.
Yeah.
And he's like, they'll let you play your game. And I was like, I'll be back tomorrow. So I came back tomorrow, and I came back the next month and the month after that. And like, they knew what the right thing to do was, but they like didn't really want to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not always like this death knell for your play at a given casino, but it definitely gets in your head and can affect your mental state. Don't ever let it affect your play.
Yeah.
But
well, I think backoffs are kind of a huge bummer because casinos are backing off all sorts of people that actually don't have an advantage. I think they can be back off happy.
Trigger happy.
Yeah. But I was just gonna ask you guys, were there any tricks you used to just kind of like talk yourself out of that ambient anxiety, as you put it?
Well, there were moments where I felt it coming or I was worried about it, and I reframed the way I was thinking to kind of like beg them to do it. Like, come on, back me up. Show me what you got.
Yeah.
I'm expecting it. Let's do this. Let's
Yeah.
throw down, And it just sort of let the air out of the tires of all my worry and fear of, am I going to get backed off? When's it going to happen? And made it more like, no, it's going to happen. Now it's on you as to when it's going to happen,
Yeah. I think I always told myself, hey, I don't really like casinos anyway. I'm not hanging out in them in my off time because I'm not. I'm there for one reason. And if they back me off, that's great. I can check it off my list. Kind of in a different way, reframe it and say, because there could be this fear of what if I lose this place? Well, if you lose it, you move on. But the alternative is to change the way you're playing your game in a way where you don't have the advantage anyway. And I've seen that happen plenty of times. This is like a really simple hack, but breathing techniques, like chest, like diaphragm breathing, just to like calm yourself, like
hot water in the bathroom, like the hot water on my hands always like,
it
was like soothing.
Just those things because you're like feeling this anxiety and but those things, that deep breaths from your, and hot water in the bathroom, be like, all right, I'm fine. I'm going to play my game and, bring it on, guys. Or whatever, move on to the next casino, come back to that one, another time. But if you can't play well, just you got to step away from the table.
The fear of a back off
Yes.
is totally in your head.
Yes.
And should never, ever control any of your actions, especially your playing decisions.
Yeah.
But like, should I leave this casino right now? You have no idea if this casino is completely oblivious, if the guy with the frowny face in the pit that he has resting frowny face.
Yeah.
And you go to the next place and they're the ones that catch on to you and fire you to this place, which you could have played 40 hours straight at. Whatever you got to do to mellow out and calm down and be cool. Like, it's not always, you might be jumping out of the frying pan into the fire.
Interesting.
So
That's good. I'd say, one other I thought of, downsides to card counting. You need a bankroll to do it. And that can be, a difficult thing. And the travel, travel can get old. Travel can be difficult if you're trying to do it full time. But any other downsides you guys thinking of?
Well, you have to care about the small things. I mean, it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not. I mean, it's like any good job, which is that you have to apply yourself.
Yeah.
You have to care about the small things because you've got an edge that you're working with. Which, if you mess up a hand every hour, or if you're tipping the dealer, or if you're dropping the count, like, all these things matter. So, like any other job, you have to apply yourself and care about all the little small things. And that can be difficult to do if you feel like, oh, I'm in the casino throwing out somebody else's money and this is the great life.
you mentioned throwing out somebody else's money, though. And that's what I realized was a hidden downside for me for a long time. Because I started out playing with my own money, and then for a very short time, and then I played with team money for a long time. And when I talked with various people about getting back into it, I sweat other people's money more than I sweat my own.
Oh, interesting. You took it more seriously betting team money.
Yeah, exactly. I hate being responsible for other people's money. I sweat it more. If I lose my money, it was in the table, I put it there, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If I drop my money out of my pocket and never find it, that was my money, my mistake, no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
But owing somebody else money, which is the only way I can play blackjack, is rough. That's definitely a psychological weight that's bearable, but it's there.
Interesting.
Even when you're not at the table, even when your money's in your safe or hidden in your mattress or wherever your money, other people's money is, when you're on vacation, part of your mind is always with your money.
Yeah. So here's my question to wrap it up. Would you guys say the downsides outweigh the positives when you look back at your career?
No way. No way. There are no downsides. Just to bring it back around, there are none. You got to do it. It's.
So you do it again?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
I'd do it again, and I'm doing it now.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that from you guys, because it would be a bummer if you guys felt like you regretted playing on the team I helped, recruit you guys for or whatever. But I would say for people watching, think about what you want, if this does or doesn't fit in for you, consider the downsides and consider the positives and figure out if this is a good fit for you. If it's not, there are plenty of other things you can do with your time, your money, a lot of ways to make a buck. If this is a good fit, be aware of the downsides, take the good with the bad, and I would also say the positives have massively outweighed.
We've experienced all of the downsides
Yeah.
possible,
Yeah.
and we survived, and we're happy to keep playing.
Maybe part of it's our personalities, but it's worked for us.